So what stood out to me the most in that segment of this town hall was him reiterating very clearly that he is self-funded, right? And that's the kind of talk that worries me if Hillary has to fight him in the general election.
Even though he's not self-funded.
Right.
A third of his funding has come from donations. People are tweeting out now the section on his website that says donate to us. Anderson Cooper brought it up at least. That's something.
It's interesting how easily Anderson Cooper shuts up just by the candidate uttering, excuse me.
Excuse me.
That's it. That's all it takes. It doesn't even,
you be Donald Trump and I'll be Anderson Cooper.
Okay. So
now, that's the kind of argument.
Excuse me. I just wanted to say that I'm the best and I'm tremendous. Excuse me. So I'm self-funded and I'm actually worth $100 billion. I know I said $10 billion. Excuse me. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's like a magic spell that boop, it goes zip. Anderson just goes boop, zip, boop, zip it. You might as well just go zip. Why doesn't he do that?
Well, what impresses me about this is all the questions that Anderson Cooper has asked about the 46 million Americans living in poverty. I'm glad that that's been asked at least 5 times in the last hour and 40 minutes.
And
I'm glad we're keeping it on the loss of middle-class jobs. I'm glad that this wage stagnation over the last 40 years, that he's hammering these guys. And what are you going to do to rebuild the middle class? What are you going to do to get wages up? I'm glad that he's not letting up. He's a hell of a
I don't know what
moderator.
He hasn't brought up any of that. Oh, wait a minute.
He doesn't really care about any of that. I mean, look, the majority of these town halls, or at least these candidates, have focused on controversies, tweets. This candidate said that about you. What do you think? How much are you worth? I mean, all of these extremely irrelevant things. Like, I get it. Maybe spend a little bit of time talking about the controversy involving Heidi Cruz, right? Because it's important for people to know what Donald Trump thinks of women.
He got away with it.
But he got away with it. I mean, it's incredible how the assault on that Breitbart reporter. I mean, the audience loved it. The fact
Here, I
that
brought a
he's
script.
sitting
Could you read this, Anna? Read this for me, monkey.
Look, Donald Trump is perceived as strong because the people who moderate his debates or ask him the questions during these town halls get down on their hands and knees and they beg Donald to, come on their shows, and I don't know. It's just
Donald brings ratings, so they can't be tough on him.
That's right. They're not tough on him. They're just not.
So there was a guy last night on MSNBC, Lawrence O'Donnell's show. I forget his name. He's a new young reporter on MSNBC, and
his name is Tony. We talked about him.
Tony?
So
Tony? To you, he's Tony?
Unwittingly revealed the problem with corporate journalism.
Nice hair Tony had, I noticed.
Tony's got some great hair, great locks. I hope he beats me with those locks someday because they're so sexy. But I'll tell you this. He revealed to Lawrence O'Donnell, so everybody's creaming over this AM radio guy in Wisconsin who did this great interview with...
Right.
But he said the reason why that guy was able to do that was because he's only doing one interview with him. Unlike me, I have to try to follow Donald Trump for the whole campaign season. And if I did that, I wouldn't get access again. So what he briefly just said was, I do shitty interviews because Donald promises that I'll be able to do more shitty interviews.
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about, not journalism. It's about us selling soap with a picture of me standing next to Donald Trump. It doesn't matter if I'm doing anything or journalism is happening. What happens is we have a picture of us together so we can sell shit. So, this isn't about news at all.
Which is how the Washington media has operated for decades.
And
we're just seeing an extreme version of it.
And it's so bad they have such a strong bubble that he didn't realize he shouldn't fucking say that.
Yeah. Thankfully, Lawrence O'Donnell had a good response, but
what was his response?
That of course you shouldn't do that. That's what he said. No, that's not. That if you get to the point where you're thinking more about the next interview than getting the truth, then you've messed up. But really fast, I'm trying to figure out Anderson Cooper. Trump is such a moron. He knows nothing about NATO. Most of the audience watching doesn't. I honestly don't even know how, if he's not going to stop Trump from cutting him off, how do you actually force him to admit that he doesn't know? Because you follow up with a follow-up, and then he talks for 20 minutes again about nonsense, about deficit.
You say you're not answering the question. You keep breaking in. You're not answering the question. You're still not answering the question.
That's how you handle it. That's what a strong reporter is. But